and he just stood up in a moment of silence in the church. And he didn't say, "Thus saith the Lord," or anything. He just stood up in a moment of prolonged silence, and he broke that silence with these simple words: God hates mixture. Remember that account, Adam? God hates mixture. And I think we have to understand everything we're talking about humanism. There's going to be Jewish humanism, there's going to be international humanism, and there's going to be Christian humanism. And religious humanism, right along with secular humanism, are coming to its Tower of Babel, to its zenith. It's coming to a head. And it's coming to a head over the issue of Jerusalem. It's going to be the watershed issue of Zionism, the issue of the Jews, the controversy of Zion. Okay. Now here's the point, though. Everything we've been talking about in Romans 6, I knew when I opened this discussion about the falling away and the Holy Covenant that we are really bearing directly on what Paul is so jealous to articulate and defend and define in his Romans, because God is jealous against mixture, and that means you can do anything. You can keep the law outwardly as perfectly as Paul, and yet it count for nothing. It be counted as mere refuse. It does not avail. It does not attain to the glory of God. But there is one righteousness alone, and it is God's righteousness, but not just God off in his heaven, but God's righteousness at work in a yielded believer's life. An actual righteousness that the believer doesn't produce, but that he yields to. And it is that righteousness, God's righteousness, which has all to do with the mystery of being led by the Spirit, of not striking the rock, of not acting independently out of yourself, but waiting and always appropriating the cross against all the power of natural impulses to kindle your own sparks, to assert something. And all of Christ's works, the works of our Lord, he disowned them as his own. He said they were the Father's works at work in him. I think we need to get to that mystery too, because until Israel attains to that righteousness, yes, they are appointed to desolation. And I believe that this is the issue before Christians. Are we mixing it? Because some of our desolations is because there's a confusion of what Paul is so careful to distinguish between our righteousness and God's righteousness, between a righteousness that's born of goodwill and intentions and human resolve and the best of religious knowledge and all that, versus a righteousness which is the Spirit of God through faith, which is simply God working through us. It's Christ being righteous in us, and we're simply yielding to him. And what God is after here is the issue of mixture, because all mixture is humanism. And it's very veiled. It's very hidden behind a veil of morality, because Jews are moral, Islamics are moral, Christians are moral, they all pray, they're committed to sacrifice, to personal discipline. They may be more or less successful, but they're all committed to submission. They all believe in obedience. So my question is, what I think Paul is after here is the line of demarcation is the source, the issue of the source. Is it God or is it man at his best? And God will not accept less or other than God. But this is, like I said, not just an abstraction of God coming down and operating like a puppet. This is an incarnational resurrection phenomena of the believer yielding and putting the cross against anything in his life that would mingle and mix or assert itself along with God's righteousness.